All right, thank you. That was my question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions? Thank you, appreciate you coming. Ms. Gonzalez?
Just one other thing, Mayor.
Go catch your plane. Ah, okay.
Just one other thing, just to inform the commission that once we do have whatever insurance you decide that the city's going to be provided with, we are going to have a health fair, which we do provide for the employees once a year.
So there is a recommendation by staff on item six that we engage with the TML insurance as presented. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Going back to the regular item agenda under 8C, consider authorizing staff to work with the city engineer towards the development of a public parking lot downtown at the city-owned property legally describes the lots 19 through 24, Block 28, San Juan Original Townsite Subdivision, and to also work with the city engineer towards the paving of a parking lot located on north of the old water tower plants downtown. Javier?
Mayor,
Mr.
we
Cervantes?
have an app for a subdivision plat that has been waiting. Can we go
Okay,
to that one?
sure. What item is that?
It's 8C,
Which one?
8C, I think. The subdivision plat?
The one I just read? No.
No,
8D,
8D.
I'm sorry. Okay.
And it's a tabled item.
Okay, let me go ahead and read the item. Item D, consider preliminary and final approval of the Pueblo Plaza Number 2 subdivision being 6.975 acre tract of land out of lots 2 and 3 and 7, Block 35, Alamo Land and Sugar Company subdivision, located approximately 2,600 feet west of Cesar Chavez along the north side of US Expressway 83, as requested by Garza Consulting Engineers. Is there a motion to remove from table?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor state aye.
Aye.
It has been removed. Go ahead, Mr.
Yes,
Cervantes.
the developer is proposing to divide the property into one commercial lot in order to build a tire store, which is Pueblo Tires, and a commercial plaza. For the moment, he's proposing to develop only the front part of the property adjacent to Expressway 83 frontage road. Along the west side of the front side of the property, a building with a showroom maintenance area for the cars and inventory is proposed. Along the east side of the front side of the property, a small commercial plaza is proposed. The developer is contemplating the development of the back, which is the north side of the property, at a future time. As part of the implementation of the City of San Juan's thoroughfare plan, right-of-way and infrastructure for the future extension of Retama Street from Sergeant Leonel Trevino Road to Expressway 83 is being addressed. The dedication of 10 feet of additional right-of-way is required along the east side of the subdivision, and escrow funds for 20 feet of asphalt, curb and gutter, and sidewalk along the eastern boundary of the subdivision for the future Retama Street is also being required. During their July 2nd meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval unanimously with a 7-0 vote, and Mr. Ivy is here in his suit and everything.
I want to know, is he going to sing and dance for us?
Is that the Champoozy or what is it?
We want to take a picture, but first we got to take. I think this is, we've heard about it in the making, and I'm excited about you wanting to make this a flagship type of store, is what I understand. Is that correct?
We've been attempting, hello, everybody. We've been attempting to do something with this property for 7 years.
Yeah.
And we're finally at a point with water, sewer here, where we can go ahead and develop the property. And we envision a beautiful, efficient tire store. On the way we're looking at it, it would be on the west side, the left side. And in addition to that, a build-to-suit type placita on the right-hand side. And it would have to be very limited in size just because of the space limitations. We only have 300 feet of footage here. There would be a general driveway which leads to the property, and that is prime development property as well, especially with the development or the continuation of Retama Street, which would go to the back. As far as flagship, this is to keep the dealerships honest. Our objective is to provide superior, honest service, recommendations, products, and a great showroom. If you don't believe that, look at any of them. And we strive to take great care of our customers. We look forward to being a tremendous addition to your community.
And we do look forward to that. And I do, we'll take the vote, and I'm sure they'll be positive, and we want to welcome you to the city of San Juan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any questions? If not, is there a motion for approval as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And they're serious about a picture.
Yeah, we're serious about the picture.
Can you bring your team forward? Sir, for real? For real?
Yeah. Mayor, before we proceed with Mr. Cervantes' item, I would like to go back to the item number 8B, the resolution authorizing publication of the city's notice of intent. In reviewing the notice of intent and speaking to Mr. Vela outside, we do not have, the language is not broad enough to encompass the equipment we were talking about. I thought it was, and so reviewing it right now, it does not include it. It had been included, but it's not in this one. So I spoke to bond counsel. Let me put my glasses on, I can't see you. I spoke to bond counsel, and I read him what we had, and he thought it was in there also. So what he recommended we do is we just amend our motion to include in the notice of intent the sanitation equipment. That way, we don't have to come back at a later time to fix that.
To open it, to go back to it, I can call it again and ask that amendment be done at this time?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, then I'd like to go ahead and go back to item 8A, consider and approve a Series 2015 plan of finance to be amended to include the front loader,
Well, not specifics. We would like to just acquisition of sanitation. equipment.
sanitation
Equipment.
vehicle, equipment,
Yes,
to
Mayor.
be included in that as well.
Yes, Mayor.
That being said, is there a motion for approval?
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in, who said second? Okay, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And there's somebody else here who also has an item, and that is on the, and let me go to that, since we've done that already for everybody else. This is on the strategic plan. And if I can have you go to item 8I, discussion and possible action for the development of a City of San Juan strategic plan. Ms. Borrego.
Yes. Strategic plan is a crucial component to any organization because it helps establish a unified direction, aids in implementing effective policy, and can increase budgetary efficiency. With this in mind, staff is proposing the creation of a strategic plan for the city of San Juan. Plans are extremely customizable.
Take your time, take your time.
I know, it's extremely customizable and can be developed within various constraints, including budget and time. Based on an informal proposal collected by staff, a strategic plan can be developed between 6 and 24 weeks and can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $67,000. The price difference is based on the request and the scope of work. Staff is recommending a strategic plan be developed within the following specifications. Within a 6-week time frame, with 1 planning session per week, The sessions are to be attended by elected officials and key staff who will develop a vision, mission for the city, as well as city goals, priorities, and objectives. No public input will be required. The final plan will be drafted by the consultant after sessions are completed, and the plan will be formally adopted and implemented for the 2015-2016 fiscal year. That's it.
Basically, this came about in discussions. We had the last strategic planning that we've had in the city of San Juan was back in 2000, and I believe it was 6 and 7.
Yes, Mr. Mata's here. He actually helped develop that strategic plan, if you have any questions for him.
And we did develop then a mission statement and a vision statement. We had that through the assistance of Mr. Mata. What we did back when was we created a 1 year, and you can come back and talk about, if you don't mind, Mr. Mata, what are the kind of time frame that we look. You know, when we talked about zoning and we talked about what we want to see happen, how do we prevent things from not developing the way they should? It really comes back to what we have within our plans, strategic planning, I think is crucial. And because we haven't done this before, and we haven't done it in almost 10 years, I think it's important that we look at it now. It would have been probably perfect to try to get it done before the budget year is over. But nonetheless, this is for long term. And we are able to, in those discussions, bring in how has the city changed, what is the input that we can have about what we're trying to do within the city. And I think it's extremely important. One of the other also prompting has to do with looking at it as well as a zone. You'll talk a little bit what the school district was also doing that was requesting that. But Mr. Mata, and we have you here because we looked at when we looked at the amounts or looked at the bids that we have, we definitely you're the one that's proposing something as far as your proposals would be definitely feasible. And the other is you've done this before. Would you talk a little bit about your experience in having worked at the in strategic planning?
Sure. First of all, let me say that in 1977, the fall of 1977, I took my first job as an urban intern, actually here at the city of San Juan. I was a student at the University, Pan American University at the time. And that was my first professional experience. And that's how I got into development, community development, management, and so on. But as you mentioned about in 2006 or so, I was working at the University of Texas Pan American University of Texas Pan American at the time. The Division of External Affairs agreed to help the city develop a strategic plan, a very brief and targeted strategic plan at the time. We did it, I think, in a couple of sessions at the time. And it was very focused and a little bit more condensed than what I think you're looking at now. This was, I think, a couple of sessions that included some elected officials and staff, and that was about it. But it did help you at the time refocus and prioritize some projects. My experience has been over the last almost 30 years now, since I started working with the city of San Juan. I've worked in city management, administration, and planning. And I've done strategic planning for a number of different groups. In fact, right now, I'm spearheading one for the school district in Edinburgh. They're doing one that is going to encompass a period of about 18 months. They're looking at every phase of what they're doing and trying to improve their educational system and their outcomes. So I do have a lot of experience in that. I've also worked with banks. I've worked with Magic Valley Electric. I did one strategic plan for them. And a couple of other organizations, housing authorities, and other nonprofits and businesses. So that's in a brief, that's my background. But I think what you're looking at here is something a little bit more comprehensive and looking over a wider term in terms of the period that you want to address, and also in terms of the types of issues. The city 10 years ago is very different from where it is now. The development you've seen over the last 10 years is things that sometimes we wouldn't have expected, in areas of the city that we wouldn't have expected. 10 years ago, we wouldn't have expected the development along the expressway. So things have changed quite a lot from that time period. So this is a very good time because you're right at the point where all that is literally going to explode, just as you saw right now that development that Pueblo Tire is doing. That's going to stimulate other development. And it's important that the city have a good handle on how you want all that to look and develop now before it actually comes in.
Very good. I think that that's really crucial, and upon approval, we can definitely go back and decide the time. I think in consideration of what may come from this, we can also, maybe in the future, consider rebranding of the city as we look at it. So, any questions for Mr. Mata at this point? Thank you, Mr. Mata.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Borrego, is there anything else you need to add?
Well, today we're asking permission to continue asking for formal bids for the actual development of the strategic plan, or at least budgeting for it, with your approval.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mata. Anybody else with business that we haven't approached? Okay. We'll go back to, let's go back to item C again. I've already read that onto the record, and I'll have Mr. Cervantes elaborate on that.
On the downtown,
Yes, sir.
staff has received a request from downtown businesses for additional parking spaces to help with the parking situation downtown to generate more business. There is a property just north of the old maternity clinic that belongs to the city of San Juan that could become a public parking lot for the downtown businesses. The parking lot will need to be repaved and a driveway will need to be constructed from Nebraska Avenue. There is also a city-owned parking lot just north of the old water plant, close to City Hall, that needs to be paved, that could be used for additional parking spaces for the city employees. Staff requests authorization to work with the city engineer on the paving and improvements necessary to make these projects a reality. And there are some diagrams in your packet of what the parking lots.
So just to get this straight, you're right now, you're asking for us to give you direction to explore it, right? Because
Exactly.
there's no money allocations, there's
No.
nothing like that, just to develop a plan.
There are possibilities to pursue grants for these parking lots. If it's a low-impact development, we may be able to pursue some grants for this. Also, Ronnie and I discussed it, in a future paving project, this could be alternate bids. And so if we get a good price on the paving project, then we may be able to fund the paving of these parking lots through the alternate bid process. So those are the two options that we're looking at.
Now, when we looked at the existing structure, are you looking to remove the canopy that are out there, or
Carports,
keeping?
or-
No, we will evaluate them to see if they're structurally sound, but the plan is to keep those canopies there for shade purposes.
And it creates a total of how many spaces, you said? 13?
No, it's 24
24
potential
spaces.
spaces in the downtown parking lot.
Now, the building that is behind that old scientific water building and that black and white one, do we have any sense of what might be happening there?
No, I haven't heard anything from the property owners about proposed.
So the only
Develop-
access to this would be from Nebraska, is that
Well,
correct?
also from the alley.
The alley.
There's an alley there. So you will also be able to access it from the alley.
Now, is the alley on the, if you enter the alley on the side going to the back, are you talking about the alley from which street? Coming in from what street?
It's from between, this is Sixth? Yeah. Yeah, there's an alley.
From Sixth Street, because if you
There's an
come,
alley there.
Business 83, it's a very bad,
Yeah. It will
Alley.
be from Sixth Street. So that's another entrance, and then the main entrance will be from Nebraska.
you know what I foresee? If the alley between those two buildings belongs to the city, because it's in really, I see the folks coming in from Business 83,
Yeah,
once they know it's there.
yes.
Is there something that says do not we would do a do not enter or something? Because all our parking would be, you have it, have it at an angle,
It's straight, yes.
and that would give enough room for the in and out of
Yes.
a.
Yeah, there's enough space for the maneuvering. But going to the project, I guess we'll look at the
Think about those
alleys
things that
and
might
see,
just,
yeah, maybe part of the project will be to improve alleyways in that part of town. So we'll look at that, the city engineer and myself, and see, what we can do.
Okay. To prevent the, and yeah, those who would look, and I think, I know I've had, have a conversation with Mr. Phillips, see if he'll be willing now to do something with that building. Because one of the biggest complaints has been parking, and hopefully, he considers leasing out those areas, those spaces. I know that's one of the things we had approached in the past, to make that available, and maybe knowing that he'd be more willing to do that. I know the folks with the event center have been asking consistently for parking.
We are going to paint one additional parking space right in front of the car lot. So we are doing that. We checked with TxDOT, and they allowed one additional parking space right in front of the car lot. So that's going to help them with additional parking. So hopefully that will help get him to lease those spaces.
I
So
like
we are working with him.
I think it's a good idea. And although it's not on the agenda, I do want to say, because it's attached to, the parking is attached to the building, and we can look at the grants for that building. And maybe we can put that on the agenda soon.
The clinic?
Yes, it's our building.
Yeah, we've been looking at that.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Was moved by Commissioner Garza, second.
Second.
All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We did D, is that correct? And we did E. We're now on F. Consider authorizing the interim city manager to enter into interlocal cooperation agreement between the City of San Juan, Texas, the County of Hidalgo, Texas, in conjunction with the fiscal year 2014 Operation Stone Guard Grant Program. Ms. Borrego.
Hidalgo County is designated as a fiscal agent for the 2014 Operation Stone Garden, which is why they're requesting an interlocal agreement. They've allocated $150,000 to the City of San Juan. The money will be used from September 1st, 2014 through February 28th, 2016. Because it covers a 2-year time span, we have 2 phases of the project. The first phase is from October 2015 through February 2016, and consists of $112,000 to purchase 2 vehicles, and then to reimburse us for overtime and fringe associated with enforcement of any type of border situation. And then in phase 2 is from February 2016 to April 2016. And that is $37,000, which will be reimbursed for the city for any overtime or fringe associated with law enforcement.
Are there any questions?
Mayor,
Yes.
I apologize. I was able to speak to Hidalgo County's attorney. In this case, it's Josie Ramirez, and she's allowing me to amend the interlocal agreement to include to the extent permitted by law for the section. So I'd like to add that before we sign it today. And she authorized me to just write it in and initial it.
Okay, and so that, do we need to, you've included it as of right now, so we just
Yes.
approve it as stated, correct?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Items G, consider authorizing the interim city manager to enter into local agreement, interlocal cooperation contract between the City of San Juan and Texas School Safety Center at Texas State University in conjunction with the fiscal year 2016 Tobacco Enforcement Program. Ms. Borrego?
Yes, Texas State has awarded us $2,925 to conduct 39 controlled buy sting operations to enforce tobacco sales to youth. The money will be used throughout the fiscal period from September 1st through August 31st, and will reimburse the city $75 for each sting operation reported.
Very good. Is there a motion for approval or many questions? No, motion for approval. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item H, consider authorizing the interim city manager to enter into a policing agreement between FAR San Juan Alamo Independent School District and the City of San Juan Police Department. Ms. Borrego?
The contract will designate one school resource officer for J High School. The officer will be responsible for providing deterrence from disruption and violent behavior, improve community and police relations, teach law enforcement-related topics at the request of administration, advise and mentor students and staff, and enforce all federal and state laws in coordination with school administration. They will compensate us for a salary of $43,382.24 for the contract period, which lasts from August 24th through May 27th.
Any questions?
43 what?
$43,382.24. And we're reimbursed on a monthly basis.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion for approval?
So move.
Is there a second? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And did I catch everything before? All right, moving into consent agenda. A, approval of minutes, August 11th, 2015, regular meeting. B, consider second and final approval of the ordinance for special use permit on the sale of alcoholic beverages while premise consumption, Steve's Ice House, 2111 North Raul Longoria, Lot 12, Dos Arbolitos Plaza. C, consider second and final reading of ordinance for a special use permit for the sale of alcoholic beverages on premise for Mary Lou's Bar located at 321 West US Business 83, legally described as lots 5, 6, and west 24 feet, lot 7, block 30, San Juan Original Town Site. D, consider an ordinance for reading, repealing the ordinance 1502 for the purpose of establishing fees for services provided by the city of San Juan. Are any of these needing to be moved, pulled out of order? I do. Under D and the fees, is that the one that has to do with the lots?
Remember, you approved adding a convenience fee for the sport, for people to register for sports online. So you approved doing that by consensus, but we needed to adopt an ordinance. So that's all we're changing.
The only
That's all, we're just adding that convenience fee for the sports
How about
registration.
The software, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're adding a fee. If you register online, there's going to be fees that you all agreed to. So that's all we're doing. We're adding that to the fees ordinance. Everything else remains the same.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
With that being said, is there a motion for approval?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
In favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor state aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned at 9:27.
Just 30 minutes.